The ruins of Stalingrad stand as the physical evidence of the bloodiest battle in human history. To understand why it became such a total catastrophe for the German army, we have to look past these rubble-strewn streets and examine the logistics that dictated the outcome long before the fighting even began. By the end of 1941, Adolf Hitler's window for victory was rapidly closing. The United States had entered the war on the Allied side, bringing a terrifying level of industrial power into the conflict. Germany was now staring down the barrel of a prolonged two-front war against an enemy that could simply outproduce them. To survive this industrial mismatch, the Axis war machine desperately needed raw materials, specifically crude oil. Without a massive influx of fuel, their tanks, planes, and supply trucks would simply grind to a halt. This map of the Eastern Front outlines the impossible math of their solution. To secure those resources, the German High Command launched Operation Blau. They took an inadequately sized force of about 1 million men in Army Group South and stretched them across a massive 2,500-kilometer front line. The goal was twofold. The primary thrusts pushed deep into the fertile farmlands of eastern Ukraine, while turning south to seize the massive oil fields of the southern Caucasus. Capturing these zones would fuel the Axis military, while simultaneously starving the Soviet war machine. A force of 1 million men could not effectively maintain a 2,500-kilometer front against a deeply entrenched enemy. By prioritizing strategic ambition over physical resources, the German High Command turned a 1942 offensive into a high-stakes gamble for survival. The situation deteriorated rapidly in July of 1942. Blinded by early advances, the German High Command made a fatal error. They split their already overstretched forces right down the middle. Army Group A raced south toward the oil fields, while the Sixth Army was ordered east toward Stalingrad. That split immediately created a severe supply bottleneck. The entire Sixth Army was now tethered to just 3 single-track railway lines. Worse, these tracks hadn't even been fully converted to the German gauge. The supply capacity completely failed to keep up with the daily demands of the advancing troops. Rations and fuel dwindled so rapidly that soldiers were forced into ruthless requisitioning from the local population. The Sixth Army was already slaughtering and eating its own horses well before they ever saw the outskirts of the city. To cover the vast empty distances on their flanks, Hitler filled the gaps with Allied troops from Romania and Italy. But these units were severely under-equipped. They lacked heavy weaponry, like the German Flak 88 artillery piece seen here, which was essential for stopping enemy tanks. An advancing military is bound by the physical limits of its supply chain. By pushing thousands of kilometers beyond their logistical tether with inadequate equipment, the Axis offensive was literally starving itself to death on the open steppe. Then they reached the city itself, and the German military hit a doctrinal wall. Their combat philosophy relied on blitzkrieg, rapid, mobile strikes across open terrain. The rubble-strewn, utterly destroyed streets of Stalingrad forced a static, grueling, building-to-building crawl that heavily favored the Soviet defenders. The shattered vertical environment of the city became a massive liability. Look closely at this Soviet sniper positioned deep inside a ruined staircase. This urban wreckage provided perfect cover, weaponizing the rebel and inducing such psychological terror that German troops refused to move in the open during daylight. Inside the city walls, the Germans also faced a severe technological disadvantage. This is the Soviet T-34 tank. Notice the sloped geometry on its front hull. That angled armor design provided superior protection, frequently deflecting incoming fire and baffling German anti-tank crews. And while the Germans were slowly running out of ammunition and food, the Soviets managed to maintain a vital lifeline. Here you can see troops gathered on a makeshift pier right on the icy Volga River. Against all odds, the Red Army continuously ferried fresh reinforcements and war material directly across the water and into the Meatgrinder. Geography, architecture, and technology combined to strip the German army of its core combat doctrines. They were trapped in a grinding war of attrition they lacked the resources to sustain. While the Sixth Army bled out inside the city, the Soviets were quietly preparing their counterstroke outside of it. This chart illustrates the scale of Operation Uranus, launched in late November. Over 1 million Red Army soldiers, 1,500 aircraft, and 800 tanks suddenly entered the field, completely dwarfing the depleted Axis forces. Rather than attacking the hardened city center, these massive Soviet forces acted as giant pincers. They bypassed Stalingrad entirely, smashed through the poorly equipped Romanian units on the flanks, and swung out to completely encircle the German Sixth Army. The German High Command's response sealed their fate. Hitler stubbornly refused to allow a breakout attempt. Instead, he promised to supply the trapped army from the air. But the Luftwaffe lacked both the transport aircraft and the fuel to deliver the massive daily tonnage required to keep an encircled army alive. Inside the pocket, the physical reality was horrifying. Starvation and disease ripped through the ranks, compounded by brutally freezing temperatures. You can see the devastating toll of the winter in the hollow expression and the thick frost clinging to the eyelashes of this German soldier. By the end of January 1943, the remnants of the Sixth Army finally surrendered. Look at the immense scale of this defeat as the camera pans across this endless, shivering column of Axis prisoners. 500,000 Axis soldiers were killed or wounded, and over 200,000 men were marched into Soviet captivity. The disaster at Stalingrad broke the Nazi war machine's momentum permanently. It demonstrated that ideological ambition cannot overcome the rigid constraints of geography and logistics.